All right, so this is the review time where we'll see what we did in our last class. And whoever knows the answers, you can unmute and say the answer. So this is the contents of the Gita summarized, the chapter name and the verse divisions. The first section where Arjun's indecision in accepting Lord Krishna as his guru, we saw that, we did it. And we also did the second section where Krishna speaks about jnana or Sankhya, analysis of the body and soul, matter and spirit. And then we also did after that the third section where Krishna speaks about sakama karma, performing prescribed duties gives enjoyment. And then today we will start with the next section, which is Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, detached work without reactions. So the 5 reasons quickly, somebody who knows all of them and can speak them quickly.
Compassion, enjoyment, sin, society,
and confusion.
in confusion.
The first reason that Arjun gave about compassion, Krishna refuted in the section where he speaks about Sankhya or Jnana from 11 to the 30th verses. So knowledge of the soul and body is like a dress. So first, these coverings of the body. The first is the gross body, then inside is?
The subtle body,
And then
the soul and super soul.
Soul and super soul.
okay, so now I know I'm a spirit soul. Now, how do I act in this life? Some people are not able to get in the class. I don't know why this happens, because I don't have a waiting room. One, four, and then try. Okay. So we understood how, like in a hospital, it is a place for treatment, but not everyone can be given the same treatment. So we have different varnas in the society where, according to the nature of the person, they are engaged in their prescribed duties. So there are the Brahmins, who are the intellectual class. Then there is the Kshatriyas, who are the
Protectors,
protectors or
Administrators.
administrator class. Then there are the Vaishyas, who are the
Merchant,
Agricultures.
Money.
agriculturists and merchants or business person. It's right there written above. And then Shudras are the general
justice.
So we understood how in karma there's the low grade level, which is vikarma, doing wrong acts according to the scriptures. Then there is karma kand or sakam karma, religious materialism for worldly enjoyment, performing prescribed duties, rituals for fruitive results. Above that comes atma gyan, after which when we engage in our duties, having the knowledge that we're not the body, we are the soul, then people become detached. So that is karma yoga, where people do their work without expecting anything in return. They just do it for the sake of doing. Also aspiring for heavens. Okay, this is over here, we need to correct this. Aspiring for heavenly planets is karma kand, not karma yoga. Karma yoga is when there is no expectation of any result. But then going forward, people who aspire for Brahma Jyoti, those are Brahmavadis and Jnana Yogis. Then there are people who aspire for Paramatma realization, and that is which kind of yoga? Or that is which kind of yogi? Dhyana yogi or Ashtanga yogi. And then aspire for Bhagwan realization. That is?
Bhakti.
Which is the highest?
Bhakti yogi.
Bhakti yogi. So 31 to 37, Krishna speaks of Sakam Karma, do your prescribed duty, that will give enjoyment. He speaks about benefits of fighting from 31, 32. 33, he says, if you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sin. So Arjun was thinking if he performs this activity or his duty of fighting, then he will incur sin. So, but Krishna says if you do not perform, because you'll be neglecting your duty as a Kshatriya, and thus you lose your reputation as a fighter, you will be attaining sin. So this is also a reputation for the reason that Arjun gave for not fighting, which was sin, the third one. This is one of the answers Krishna has given, and then he will give from verse number 38 to 53 that will start in today's class. The reason why Arjun was saying, I don't want to fight, and Krishna answers in 38, from 38 to 53 about sin. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Verse 34. Verse 35th verse, Krishna speaks about how the generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think of you, will think that you've left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you a coward. We spoke about how intention in our heart, accordingly, what do?
Action.
Our actions.
Actions that we do, and that leads to
Perceptions from others.
Perceptions.
opinions people
Perception.
form about us. 36th verse, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you than this? And then the last verse that we did in our last class, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, you should get up with determination and fight. So this is a win-win situation for Arjuna. This is what Krishna is saying. So the second reason, the first reason that Arjun gave compassion, I don't want to hurt them. We all know Krishna gave the answer in the Sankhya section, which is from 11 to the 30th verse. Then enjoyment, how will I enjoy? Krishna gave in the last section that we did, 31st to 37th verse, where Krishna spoke about Sakam Karma, that do your duty of fighting, and with that, either you will win and you will enjoy the worldly kingdom, or you will die and you will go to heaven and enjoy it there. So this is Krishna's response to the second reason of Arjuna from 31st to 37th verses. And in today's class, we'll start from 38th verse, where Krishna speaks about Nishkama Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, giving the answer to the third reason Krishna gave about sin. We'll recite the verse. This is also one of the verses that we will try to memorize. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsisi. You can unmute and read the translation, please.
Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
Give me 1 second, because I cannot hear.
So it's very interesting how Krishna in the 36th verse, everybody can hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so it's interesting how in the 36th verse, Krishna said, Tato dukkha taramnukim, what can be more painful for you when all these great generals who have highly esteemed your name will now scorn you and your abilities and call you a coward? What will be more painful for you than this? So he was talking about distress that Arjun will have. And then in 37th verse, Krishna speaks about how you should avoid distress and gain happiness by fighting and gaining swarga or gaining the kingdom and then enjoy. But then now in suddenly 38th verse, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, be equipoised in happiness and distress. That means don't consider happiness or distress. So suddenly he's saying something, but suddenly he's changed and he's saying, don't look for enjoyment or don't look for sukha. Be equipoised in sukha and dukkha. So how is this happening? Krishna is taking the dialogue to a higher level, which is working in knowledge, which Krishna will talk about now in 39th verse, which will be Nishkama Karma Yoga. So we need to understand how the Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna at a multi-level, at multi-levels, because wherever we are at this stage, Krishna has given an instruction. You can follow this because we're at that level and we can rise up to higher and higher levels. It's not that Krishna has started with surrender unto me and that's all there is, because people are not at that stage. So whatever stage we are at, start from them. So now he moves to a higher level and we'll see how he's moving to a higher level. This is multi-level instructions given by Krishna. We start from the down, the lowest level, in order to improve materially. Shastra does not reject enjoying mentality, but it regulates it with pressings of dharma. And if one follows, so we follow the dharma in order to enjoy materially, then one is rewarded. He rises up to heavens and enjoys more. And then what happens? He develops faith. If one then truly understands that I'm not this body, but a soul, one realizes that material things cannot satisfy me. And then the person rises up from aparadharma, which is just material sense enjoyment, to paradharma, which is at the spiritual level, connecting with the Supreme. Only at the spiritual realm can one get complete satisfaction. This is a really nice, I was looking for something to show everyone where I was, preparing for this class and thinking of what to put over here on the screen, where a person is watching a movie. Everywhere, if you go to a movie theater, they darken the place and all you can see is the big screen with, wonderful lights, and sound system is really nice. Your seat is comfortable and you're watching. So every scene that you're watching, your senses want to enjoy. And the person is so engrossed and captivated and absorbed in what the person is seeing that he forgets everything around him. I remember when I was small, my parents used to take me to watch movie theater, and I do, if all of you must have watched sometime or another. If you realize when you're watching, how your emotions also change with what's happening in the movie, right? Sometimes we start crying. Sometimes, there's joy because the hero or the heroine have achieved something really nice. So there's joy, and then, over here we can see how he got so scared. So the consciousness is locked in the movie, and one goes through a panorama of emotions which have nothing to do with one's life. Once the movie ends, the lights are turned on. I remember it was like a bimbo state. Where am I? First, it takes a few seconds to realize, okay, yeah, I had come for watching this movie and this is where I am. So similarly, the soul is in a human body. Similarly, when the soul's consciousness is locked in the body, then it experiences many material emotions. When we don't realize that I am the soul, I'm not the body, when we are so caught up and absorbed in enjoying this world, whatever, however we can enjoy with our senses, then we get so attached, and anything that happens, any ups and downs like waves, they come, and we get so emotionally, what do you say? We are blown up and down with the waves of emotions, so which cannot be overcome at material level. These emotions that we go through in our material life cannot be overcome at the material level. Whatever solutions, my Guru Maharaj says, whatever solutions that we try to find to solve material problems can bring us to a greater material problem. So the only way is to find spiritual solutions. So at a spiritual level, we can deal with all our material problems. The journey towards relishing spiritual emotions begins by distancing ourselves from material emotions. Okay, this person has said this to me, or I didn't get this, I really wanted to achieve this and I haven't. All these are material emotions, right? We have discord with our friends or family members and we're so disturbed all the time. These are material emotions. What is the solution? We need to distance ourselves from these material emotions. Only then, that is the only formula to experience or relish spiritual emotions. Ultimate spiritual emotions that the soul can experience is in connection with Krishna. The love that we can, by connecting, we can reestablish and revive that love that we already have within our heart for Radha and Krishna. That gives complete satisfaction. It brings highest happiness and also rewards one with the highest destination, which is achieving Krishna and his love and his abode. So Krishna over here says, Yudhaya Yujyasva, for the sake of fighting without getting emotionally entangled. In the result, if you're not emotionally entangled, then Naivam Papam Avapsasi, you will not get karmically entangled also. If we get so much entangled with our emotions materially, there is no way we can experience or relish spiritual emotions. And there is also another benefit. If we distance ourselves from the material emotions, we get detached. Then we are also not karmically entangled. There is no reaction. And that's what Krishna is saying. You do your duty of fighting without expecting the result of winning or losing or what will happen. Just do it because it's your duty without any attachment. Then you will also not be karmically entangled. In the purport, Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. This is coming from Prabhupada. And he also says, anyone who has completely surrendered to Krishna, unto Krishna or Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, nor the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. All we need to do is sincerely try and take shelter of Krishna and surrender unto him. So Nishkama Karma based on Jnana or Bhakti. First, Krishna speaks about Jnana. Which are the verses? Krishna speaks about Jnana. Second chapter.
11 to 30th.
11 to 30th. Perfect. Next section. He speaks about Karma Kanda. What are the verses?
31st to 37.
31st to 37.
Perfect. Then he speaks about Nishkama Karma. So Jnana plus Karma is what he's leading to. Performing duty in knowledge without attachment to results. So Jnana is the knowledge and Karma is performing your duty. Now he's talking about combining both of them. With knowledge, do your duty without attachment to the results. And that becomes Nishkama Karma Yoga. Yoga comes where we also offer the results to Krishna. So therefore, the definition of Nishkama Karma Yoga becomes do your duty without attachment to the results, right? With knowledge. And yoga is offering them to Krishna. Nishkama Karma Yoga. Who can repeat the definition of Nishkama Karma Yoga completely?
Do your duty without attachment and offer it to Krishna.
And in between, there is one more Jnana section, which is
with knowledge.
With knowledge. Yeah, perfect, with knowledge. Okay, one more. Who can give the definition?
With knowledge, your duty without attachment to the results and offer whatever you get to Lord Krishna is Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Perfect. Okay, so detachment because of knowledge that we are not this body. So Nishkama Karma or Buddhi Yoga, what Krishna will now introduce, Buddhi Yoga, and we'll talk about what is Buddhi Yoga. It's the yoga of intelligence. We'll go in a little detail. So either we can perform our duty in knowledge, materially we can detach ourselves and advance towards liberation or mukti. That is the Jnana Yoga way of achieving liberation. Now, if we come to Bhakti Yoga and look at Nishkama Karma Yoga in that perspective, perform your duty in knowledge. Materially, we detach, but also there is another aspect which is extra over here, and which is the part which takes us towards Krishna, which is spiritual attachment. So not only we are detaching spiritually, materially, we are attaching ourselves spiritually in Bhakti Yoga. So because the results are offered to Krishna with love and devotion, and that becomes Bhakti, where we advance towards pure love for Krishna. So there is a link. Krishna now takes the discussion to a higher level of working in knowledge. See, the previous verse was also higher, where Krishna said, okay, don't look at happiness or distress, just do your work for the sake of doing that, way you will not incur sin. So that is the 38th verse, where Krishna gives a general perspective. Here, Krishna will start talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga in detail, taking the dialogue higher. So how we can work in knowledge. So Esha te bhita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Somebody can read the translation, please.
Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Partha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
So Esha te bhita sankhye. I have described thus far this knowledge unto you by analytical study. Sankhya, we all know, is analytical study of the elements in this world, yes, but in a broader sense, the body and the soul. So we're not the matter and spirit, differentiation between those two. So Krishna says, I've already spoken about that. Now listen from me. Buddhi yoge tvimam shrinu. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results, which is Buddhi Yoga. Buddhya yukto yaya partha. When you act in such knowledge, O son of Pritha, O Partha, karma bandham prahasyasi, you can free yourself from bondage of work. So, in a broad sense, Sankhya is theoretical knowledge between the body and the soul. And yoga is the practical application of how to live life with that knowledge. For Arjuna, his duty is, his yoga will be to fight and connect with Krishna. Our duties may be something else. For us, yoga in connection with God is doing our prescribed duties as of where we are in this life. So by doing, it's not that by leaving everything, going to the jungle, we can connect with Krishna. That is one way. Krishna will talk about that in greater detail in the 3rd and the 4th and the 6th chapter also. But here he's talking about Arjun, that you're a Kshatriya, you do your duty as a Kshatriya to fight. That will be your yoga. That will be your connection with the Supreme, and without expecting anything, without being attached to the results. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So there are 4 forms of yoga. Buddhi yoga is not one of the form of yoga. There are 4 forms. One is karma yoga, that we perform our duties and connect them with Krishna. Jnana yoga, we, with the understanding and scriptural study, we connect with Krishna. Dhyana yoga, with meditation, we connect with Krishna. Or Bhakti yoga, we directly perform devotional activities and connect, with Krishna. So, although the other three, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, can be practiced, that yoga can be practiced at the spiritual level without the equation of bringing Krishna. So there are karma yogis who will do their duty without expecting anything in return and offer them to the Lord, right? So not necessarily Krishna only, but they are karma yogis. They're doing their duty without expectation. So here the thing is, and even if it's with connection with Krishna, it is karma yoga. What is the difference between Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga? Some people will say, right? Because in Bhakti Yoga also, we do our duties and we offer them to Krishna without expectation, and we connect with the knowledge that we're not the body, with the soul. So what is the difference between Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga? In a very broad sense, we can understand when we do what we like and then offer it to Krishna, Karma Yoga. We're doing our duty, and within the pressings of Shastra, it is Dharma. We do those and we offer them to Krishna, becomes Karma Yoga. But in Bhakti Yoga, we do what Krishna likes and we offer it to Krishna. So that is Bhakti Yoga. But Buddhi Yoga, what Krishna has introduced over here for the first time in the Bhagavad Gita, he's introduced Buddhi Yoga, refers to yoga done with buddhi or intelligence, and it can be towards Nishkama Karma also. Do your duty without expecting anything in result, attachment to the result, because you understand you're not the body or the soul, with knowledge. So that is the intelligence, that is the buddhi. So Buddhi Yoga refers to yoga, could be any, it could be Karma Yoga, could be Bhakti Yoga, but using your intelligence. How? By using your intelligence, you will break free from karmic bondage. So till now, Krishna spoke about ascending to the heavens, but not about breaking free from matter itself. This is how Krishna is raising the dialogue to a higher level. So people like to go to Swarga, and who likes to go to Swarga? Krishna will talk about that in detail in the coming verses. But people who go to Swarga, from there, they have to come back. It is also not permanent. So it is also temporary. So because the goal is not just to avoid papa, it is to avoid all kinds of karma bandhan, papa and punya both, and to get out of the material existence itself. So people who want to go to Swarga, what do? They don't want to do papa, they want to do all punya, achieve all those benefits, and then go to Swarga. But here, this aspect, this understanding of Nishkama Karma is not only we don't want papa, we also don't want punya. I remember I was listening to Gaurang Prabhu one time, and he was talking about how, Maharaj takes every year in the month of Kartik, there are these yatras that Maharaj takes, right? So a long time back in Vrindavan, we have different groups and they go to different pastime places in the Dham. And one of the groups, long time back in Vrindavan, was taken to Yamuna for bathing there. So people were bathing and Prabhuji was speaking how when we bathe in Yamuna, not only are we getting rid of all our papa, we're also getting rid of all our punya. And some people started to come out. And he was laughing and telling this thing that happened, how people want to, get punya and not get rid of the reactions that they'll get from punya. So Krishna is introducing that over here. We can get rid of all karma bandhan, papa and punya both, because we don't want to go to Swarga. We don't want that cycle to continue, go there and come back again. Prabhupada says, one who works for the satisfaction of Lord only, however difficult such work may be, is working under the principles of Buddhi Yoga and finds himself always in transcendental bliss. By such transcendental engagement, one achieves all transcendental qualities automatically by the grace of the Lord, and thus his liberation is complete in itself, without his making extraneous endeavors to acquire knowledge. Even in the 10th chapter, 10th verse, Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam, I give you the understanding. So the devotee does not have to separately endeavor to acquire knowledge. Krishna gives it as his mercy. So now to inspire Arjun to rise to this level of consciousness in which to perform action without expecting anything in return, Krishna talks about the glory of this path in the next verse. Deepa, Mataji, you have a question.
Yes, Mataji. My question was, does the previous slide, does it mean that when you have to surrender all your actions and all your karma to Krishna, does it mean that we always think that, okay, whatever I'm doing is actually for Krishna, or how exactly are we supposed to surrender the fruits of our actions to Krishna? Because on a daily basis we do a lot of things. I'm a little confused with how to make sure everything is surrendered to Krishna.
So, I mean, we can take a few examples here where we are cooking. We are offering the result to Krishna, right? Because the cooking is for offering to Krishna. That's a very simple way. There could be little more complicated situations where how do we surrender this now to Krishna, right? So that's what your question is. Maybe we're dealing with our children. So they have done something that has upset us, which is not right. Maybe they've told a lie. So then we have to correct them. Surrendering it to Krishna will be that they're also Krishna's paths. And I'm not, as a mother, I'm not taking that position of, okay, you have to listen to me. That is there. They have to listen to a mother, their mother, but because they're also part of Krishna and they're given to us as a gift from Krishna to take care of right now. This is my duty. So I'm doing it to please Krishna. So how will that come? By first the under jnana or sankhya, that I'm not this body, I'm the soul. They're also part of soul. It's not just me that I'm the soul. Prabhupada once was giving a lecture, I'm not this body, I am a soul. And some people were thinking it's him who is a soul and not a body. So they couldn't relate that aspect to themselves. One person even raised his hand and he said, okay, if I'm not my body, then whose body am I? This was his question. So it is just this knowledge that I'm not the body, I'm a soul, is theoretically easy to listen to, but to apply is a little difficult. And that is what Krishna is teaching us to apply. Nishkama Karma Yoga, with knowledge. If you do that, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. This person next to me is also a soul, part of Krishna. So my dealings with others in any situation, if they're with that understanding, then it is an offering to Krishna. Because we will not deal with people with this understanding that they're also part of Krishna, we will not deal with them in a way that will displease Krishna. So that is the basic foundation of how we can offer everything to Krishna in our day-to-day, even with friends, at our office, whatever we're doing with this understanding, then and we do it the right way, then it becomes an offering to Krishna. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
So we'll keep going here. Here is where Krishna speaks about the glory of this path, Nishkama Karma Yoga. And this is also one of the verses that we'll try to memorize. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Let's recite it one line at a time. Maybe most of you might already know it, but for the ones who haven't yet memorized or they don't know this verse very well, let's do it one line at a time. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. And then one more time together. Neha vikramanaşosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya rayate mahato bhayat. Have somebody read the translation?
In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and the little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous types of fear.
So Neha Vikramana Shosti. So in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, destruction or decrease. And Swa Alpam Apyasa Dharmasya. Swa Alp meaning a little bit advancement on this path of Dharma. Trayate Mahato Bhayat. It protects one from the greatest type of fear, or the most dangerous type of fear. What is that most dangerous type of fear? Anybody can guess? On this path, yes. Death?
Death.
I'm sorry. Is it death?
Yes,
Death.
death.
Okay, so death of the body, because body, Krishna has already given the knowledge, it is temporary. It is going to die. So that cannot be the most dangerous type of fear.
Getting entangled in the material world.
Getting entangled, yes, and coming back to this material world, and more dangerous is in an animal body, right? Let's look at the explanation. So Bharat Maharaj's 3 lives proves how little bit advancement on this path will save us from the greatest fear. The greatest fear is forgetting our connection with Krishna, or the forgetting that we have the capacity to raise ourselves to the level where we can connect spiritually also, not just material entanglement, but with the capacity that can be only in a human form of life. So Krishna is saying that the attraction that we cultivate for the eternal, right? If a person gets attracted to, okay, here everything is material. What is it that I can do which will give me eternal benefits? I want to connect with the spiritual. Even that little bit of interest that we can develop stays with us forever. In the next life, we might be given the gift of being a human again, and then we can develop it further. Prabhupada says in the purport, 1% if person follows bhakti in this life, in the next life, he starts from 2%. So it is not lost. But the material qualifications that we achieve, a person goes through preschool, kindergarten, all the way to 12th, even goes up to PhD, or even more, double PhD. Next life, he has to start again with the preschool. He does not remember the ABCs or anything. But in spiritual life, wherever we've reached, whatever advancement we've gained, we start from there. So in the life of Bharat Maharaj, we've seen how he left the body as Bharat Maharaj, but in the body of the deer, mercifully Krishna gave all that. He didn't forget that knowledge. And all he wanted was to be in the surrounding places where sages were talking about Krishna. And then he got the body of Bharat Maharaj, Jad Bharat, and from there he advanced further. So not only the destination is eternal, but also the progress on this path is eternal because it stays with us forever. This Prabhupada's short video, I think a 1-minute video, where he speaks about how materially everything will be lost forever. So there is no gain materially. It's a sure loss guarantee in material life.
We can't hear Mataji.
You cannot hear. Something wrong with my computer, I think. So, but we can read. Okay, hold on. Let's look at this. So you can read the subtitles. Mad is the sum total of all stupidity, Prabhupada is saying. He says, your pride, your property, your family, your bank balance, your skyscraper buildings is all taken away. Bas, finished, gone away. This is God. Now do you understand God? if you believe or not, do not believe. God will come one day, will take you and take your everything and get out. This is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Those who are not believers in God, to them I come as death and take away everything. Finished. That then one has to believe, yes, sure as death, then God is sure. So unless one is madman, he cannot say there is no God. So Krishna's Prabhupada spoke about how there is in material life or material business, there is a no gain guarantee. But in spiritual business, Krishna is saying no loss guarantee. Whatever we have, however much we've gained in our spiritual life, there is no loss. It is always going to remain with us. So in this business, essence of what we accumulate is internal. It is not external. By steady practice of yoga, we develop attraction to the spiritual, which is internal, eternal asset. So Krishna has said, Swa alpam apyasa dharmasya, little gain on this path, trayate mahato bhayat, frees one from the greatest fear. What is the greatest fear? Of losing the opportunity for spiritual consciousness and to fall back down in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Also, there is no loss by incomplete performance, and there is no sin by imperfect performance. So it is like a person who is in the prison and he's found a key to get out, but then he loses the key. Somehow or the other, the key gets lost. So this is how when we neglect this human form of life and the capacity to grow spiritually, it's like losing the key. So when we neglect the capacity for developing spiritual consciousness in this human life, which is like a key to get out of material life, then we fall back down in the animal body. This is what Prabhupada says, and he spoke about this, how if you gain 1%, and he speaks about Ajamil also in his story, how he had gained spiritual assets, and then later he performed sin, but those assets were always with him, and that's how he got the mercy of Krishna in the end when he was leaving his body. Also in the story of Narad Muni, if you've heard his story, how when he was born, he was cursed in one lifetime from a Gandharva to be a son of a maid servant. There he acquired spiritual assets by serving the Bhakti Vedantis, having their prasad, listening to them. And then in his next life, he became Narad Muni. So from all these pastimes that Krishna, that they're there in the Bhagavatam and other, scriptures, we can understand even a little bit advancement is so precious. It's such a precious gain. And I'm going to escape this and start with the next presentation. And Krishna goes further and he speaks about Vivasayatmika intelligence and Vedic Karma Kand. This is the section from 41 to 46. We'll try to finish this also today. So last verse, how what we do in the spiritual realm stays with us forever, that the results are eternal. Next verse, Krishna describes the qualification one needs to possess to actually be able to do this. So 41st verse, also another verse that we'll try to memorize. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hyantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. We'll do it one line at a time. You can repeat after me. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hyantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Let's have somebody read the translation, please.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute in many branch. Mataji, can I read that again?
It's okay, it's okay. We're going to do the explanation, so which will explain what the translation is. But thank you so much. Vyavasayatmika buddhir. So vyavasay, we all know what is vyavasay. Is business. It also means one-pointed or resolute. In vernacular, it is business, vyavasay. And Atma is the essence, right? Sometimes we say, in this endeavor, I'm doing this endeavor with all my heart and soul, right? So soul can also be the essence or mean the essence, not just literally the spiritual soul, but also it is the essence of something where we're putting or absorbing ourselves in. So vyavasayatmika, with one-pointed attention or resolute in purpose, that buddhi Krishna is talking about, vyavasayatmika buddhi, that buddhi which is one-pointed. There are distractions. Even when we are in our spiritual path, we can be distracted. And what are these distractions? Gaining knowledge also, one of the distractions. Beauty, money, strength, and fame. All these are distractions. And when desires crowd our mind, then dilemmas cloud our intelligence. That's why Krishna is saying you have to be one-pointed. So, vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. The purpose and their aim is one. It's not spread here and there. So, oh beloved, oh Kurunandana, oh beloved child of the Kurus, bahushaka yanantascha. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Buddhayo vyavasayana. Their intelligence is many branched. So, branches of action and unlimited desires. So all these, the pursuit of material gain is completely valueless when we're measured compared to eternity. Anybody who is in business, any kind of business, will understand that they start a business only by understanding and thinking clearly that this business will give gains in the future, right? So when when Krishna speaks about how in this material world, whatever is gained is lost, but in the spiritual endeavor, there is no loss. So when a person realizes this, then all the material endeavors become valueless. What is of value is what will give us eternal results. So to the extent we are one-pointed, to that extent, we can practice Krishna consciousness diligently. Our intelligence should not be disturbed by distractions. And how can we become one-pointed? Prabhupada explains, have a sense of urgency and have a sense of purpose. While playing cricket, if a person wants to become a world-class cricket player, the success is decided based on how much one becomes consumed and absorbed in that activity, right? I took this example because my husband also used to play a lot of cricket before when he was in school and college. So all the time, it was so much. I mean, when we got married, even after that, every day he would give me the ball and he would say, can you just do bowling and I will do batting in the house, in a little alley that we had in the house. I was so much, it used to bother me, but because we were newlywed, I used to do it. He's not there in the class today. So he's in New Vrindavan. I've gone for some devotional service only. So when he was asking for excuse, I said, that's fine. But this really, for him, it was absorption. Every minute he wanted to be absorbed in this game of cricket. So how much one's success is guaranteed if there is total absorption. Similarly, in spiritual life, this is also another example when some of us who've tried to take out butter from cream, it takes a lot of endeavor. But we have to keep doing and doing and churning and churning and churning, and then the butter comes. So the endeavor has to be one-pointed for any result to come. Even in, people who are working in gold mines, they have to drill and drill and drill one-pointedly. They cannot drill a little here and drill a little there and find gold. They have to be one-pointed. So Prabhupada says faith means something, unflinching trust in something sublime. So if we have the faith that there is eternal benefit and there is gain, which is eternal in this spiritual life, then there is a sense of urgency and purpose, which comes automatically, and faith also comes automatically. So the first reason Arjun gave for not fighting, I don't want to hurt them. The answer Krishna gave from 11th to 30th verse. For compassion, you're not the body of the soul. Second reason, how will I enjoy the kingdom with our family and friends? Krishna gave from 31 to 37 that do your duty of fighting, you will achieve enjoyment either here on earth or in heaven. And then sin, I don't want to go to hell. Krishna spoke a little bit in the 33rd verse, 2.33, where he said, you do your prescribed duty of fighting, then you will not incur sin. Right? And now for confusion, this is the last one. He has given the answer in 41st verse, that you have to be one-pointed. There is no scope of confusion. There is no scope of going here and there. Be one-pointed in your duty of fighting as a Kshatriya. So his confusion was whether I should be fighting or not fighting, whether I should get conquered or conquer them or conquered by them. Krishna is resolving by telling him in any activity, one has to be one-pointed in their resolution. So now Krishna is again telling how at the level of Karmakand, he's going back to the level of Karmakand. Aiming for heavenly planets is not ideal, since the Vedas consist of flowery words. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipashchitaha vedavadarata partha nanyad asti tivadinaha kamatmana manaha svargapara janma karma falapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogashvarya gatim prati. We can read the translation quickly.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this.
So yam, imam, pushpitam, vacha, all these are flowery words. Pushpa is flower, and vacha is words which are spoken. All these are flowery words which talk about karmakand. Who is attracted to them? Pravadanti avipashchitaha. Those who do not have discrimination. Vipashchita is people who have discrimination. They know what is right and what is wrong, but avipashchita is people without discrimination. So those people who cannot discriminate between what is right and what is wrong, they are attracted to the words of the Vedas, which talk about Karmakand. Veda, Vada, Rata, Partha, they are supposed followers of the Vedas. And what is their characteristic? Nanyad Astiti Vadina. They say that there is nothing more than this. Going to Swarga is the highest that you can achieve. It is there in the Vedas because the Vedas deal in, there's 4 Samhitas, Rig Ved, Samved, Yajurved, and Atharvaved, and they deal with, what are the dealings? Modes of material nature. Artha, Kama, and one more. Who remembers?
Moksha.
Yeah, moksha comes in the Upanishads, but here there are 3, right? Artha, Kama, and
Dharma.
Dharma,
Yeah.
Artha, and Kama are spoken about mainly in the Vedas, and then the Upanishads talk about moksha. It's a higher scripture, but the highest, which is the cream of all scriptures, is Srimad Bhagavatam, which speaks about love for the Lord, which speaks about bhakti, and which is the prime benediction for all of us through the scriptures, such as Bhagavatam. So the next verse, 43rd verse, is these are combined, 42, 43. So 43rd, Kamat Mana Swarga Para. So these people are filled with Kama and they want to go to Swarga. Why? Because here there is limited ways we can enjoy materially, right? One person likes to eat gulab jamun. How much can one person eat? But there in Swarga, you're given a body where you can eat as much as you want and enjoy. This is one example. There's so many ways we can enjoy the body. Over here, if we indulge too much, we can harm our body. But there in Swarga, we're given a body where we can enjoy unlimitedly and nothing will happen to the body. So Janma Karma Phala Padan, they will get good birth and fruitive results. Kriya Vishesha Bahulan, they perform so many opulent and specialized Vedic sacrifices. Their whole goal is to progress towards Swarga, where they'll get greater level of what? Sense and gratification. Bhoga Aishwarya Gatim Prati. Sense enjoyment, which is sensual, and opulence, which is financial or economic. So Bhoga Aishwarya are two things what people are so much attached to, and they want to go to Swarga. Swarga may talk about material enjoyment, but it is toxic for the soul, since it alienates the soul from its spiritual nature in forgetfulness of the blissful eternal relation with Krishna. Here also on this earth, if a person is too much attached to attaining things and becoming rich, or the bhoga, wanting to enjoy so much, then he's alienated with his own spiritual nature of connecting in the spiritual way with God, right? People who are too much, Krishna is saying, people who are too much attached to Bhoga Aishwarya, for them, this is the only way to achieve more Bhoga, to go to heavens. So they know that we're going to die, but there's some place else we can go and enjoy even more. So for them, this is their goal. Swarga is their goal. Read these notes, we just spoke about them. And this also is in the purport. They do Jyotirshoma sacrifices. There are places which are pleasurable so much, like Nandana Kanana gardens. And the analogy of such attraction as fools are attached to flowers of a poisonous tree, unlightened when attached to the heavenly opulences and enjoyment. When one is attached to Bhoga and Aishwarya, one cannot have one point of intelligence. This is what Krishna says in the next verse. Bhoga Aishwarya prasaktanam taya aprihita chetasam vivasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So, two sources that promise happiness is, one is material opulence and one is sense gratification. And again, if we see the example of somebody watching a movie and so engrossed, it's all dark, he cannot see what is happening around him, behind him, even on the side. Similarly, when we are so engrossed in Bhoga and Aishwarya in this world, we are oblivious of the spiritual nature that we have within us. So all these are, again, Bhoga that we can. Hiranyakashipu, his name was such. Hiranya means gold, to gold. So maybe a lot of gold, wealth and property. And Kashipu, soft bed, which is sense in gratification, sense. So his name was such that both Bhoga and Aishwarya were there, imbibed within his name. And Krishna says, come to me, I will take care of you, is what such a person does not realize and does not, without that realization, cannot cultivate towards the path of paradharma, or connecting with Krishna. So Krishna guides by giving first the intelligence. Through the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is a gift from Krishna. So with our intelligence, we understand what the purpose of this human life is. And then Krishna also gives us the taste in bhakti, which is so difficult to come when the Bhoga Aishwarya. So as a child also, they are so clean at heart. If we can cultivate from that early age, it is so easy because they absorb all this. As we grow up, then because of coming in contact with material nature, which Krishna will talk about now, modes of material nature, the consciousness is then, we can say, smudged with all the muddy allurements of this material life, and we are captivated by those. These are distractions that take us away from our spiritual life. So another example is, for a little child, if somebody offers a chocolate, they will not discriminate that this person who might be a stranger is giving me a chocolate might, take me away or abduct me. So, but if the knowledge is given by the parents and elders in the house that somebody might try to allure you with a chocolate and take you away from your loved ones, then with that intelligence, the child, as he grows, can discriminate. Yes, I don't want this. This might look so wonderful and I can enjoy the chocolate so nicely, but I don't want it because I might get abducted. So similarly, in the spiritual life, when all these allurements are around us, if we get allured by them and want to enjoy them, then they can abduct us and take us away from the spiritual. But if we can concentrate with the knowledge Krishna is giving, we can devote our life and our time and energy to cultivating that love for Krishna and stay away from these things that might kidnap us in our consciousness. So these are some notes you can go through later, what we just spoke about. So Krishna says in the next verse, rise above the three modes, be free from all dualities and anxieties for gain and safety, be established in the self. Another verse that we will try to memorize, so many verses that are important in this today's class. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvando Nitya Sattvosto Niryoga Shema Atmavan. One more time. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvando Nitya Sattvosto Niryoga Shema Atmavan. Till the time we finish this chapter, we are going to keep reciting these verses. I would suggest that you do it even 2-3 minutes every day. It'll become so easy for you to memorize. It's not that we have to sit and memorize each word. Just by reciting again and again, that is the best way and the fastest way one can memorize. So one more time. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvando Nitya Sattvosto Niryoga Shema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to the three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So just like there's red, blue, and yellow, which are the primary colors, and when combined, make up not just the various other colors, but give form to different things and beings. Because of colors, we can distinguish between different forms, right? So similarly, the three modes of nature, everything at the material level is constituted of the three modes of various nature, of various combinations. These three modes are not just the components of matter, but also the subtle forces that shape the interaction between consciousness and matter. The soul accordingly acts and gets entangled in this material world. And what are the three modes? We will do later in detail when Krishna speaks about them. Nistraigunyo. So Krishna says, go beyond the three modes, because the soul is beyond the three modes. And to realize the soul, one has to go beyond the three modes. So three modes are in this material world, but to realize the soul or the Atma, which is not material, the three modes cannot touch the soul. So to realize the soul, we have to go beyond, we have to transcend the modes. Only bhakti is beyond the modes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. So one can transcend modes only by bhakti. You can read the details later. Next verse, the last verse in today's class. Ya Krishna gives a metaphor, beautiful metaphor in this verse. Yavanartha udapane sarvataha sampluto dukke tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. Somebody can read.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
So, a beautiful metaphor Krishna has given over here. He says, various wells which are used to serve various purposes. So, this is in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given many analogies and metaphors, and most of them are from this nature. So, we can relate to them. So, in olden days, maybe now also in villages, there's not just in one village, there's not just one well, there are separate wells, various wells to perform various activities. For example, there can be one well where people gather and wash clothes. And that's why it is considered a little moochi well. There can be one well where people bring all their utensils and wash over there, or take water from there to their home and wash utensils with that. Again, little moochi. There is another well where people bathe. Again, little moochi. But there's another well where people take water to cook. That is considered a more suture well. So like that, there are different various wells in a village set up where, and their purposes for various different kinds of work that can be, they can be used for. So, but if there is a river flowing, because it's free flowing, continuously flowing, it is considered clean. So all of those works, washing clothes, cleaning utensils, bathing, can be done on the river bank or in a river. So since the river is flowing constantly, it's clean, hence can be used for all the purposes. So Krishna has used this metaphor that whatever purposes the well, the various wells perform, a river, if there is a river, that can perform all these various purposes. Similarly, so again, let's look at this notes first. Well is compared to Vedas. So similarly, comparing to Vedas, which promise fulfilling various desires by doing various pujas and yajnas, which are fruits, but they are temporary. But beyond them, there is spiritual happiness, which satisfies and gives happiness far more than any material thing can give, which is eternal. So Brahmanasya, Krishna says, one of the man who knows the ultimate purpose of the Vedas, which is to know Krishna or understand Krishna or connect with Krishna, Vijanata, who is in complete knowledge. So such a person may or may not have all the things that the Vedic rituals promise. But the purpose of having all of those things, which is happiness, is perfectly fulfilled in such a person's life, because relationship with Krishna is supremely satisfying and the ultimate goal. So when we become fully devoted to Krishna, we experience supreme fulfillment. I remember when before coming to Krishna consciousness, I had so many friends. Still I do, but they are, all friends now, mostly are devotees. But at that time, when I also wasn't in Krishna consciousness, every weekend we used to have parties and go to theaters or do something or another, right? To have fun. But then coming in Krishna consciousness, that slowed down and then completely stopped. And then one of my close friends on a call one day, what are you doing? You're losing on all the enjoyment in life. You've forgotten us. And, remember all the fun that we used to have doing all this. But we have to realize how much when we connect with Krishna, that is the supreme happiness that the soul is experiencing in connection with Krishna, and all those other activities become so superficial, and they become and connection with Krishna and all the activities we do in connection with Krishna become our highest goal in life. That is all, a devotee wants to do. I'm still on that path, still learning and still so far away. But here we're understanding the principle, what Krishna is giving, that there is supreme fulfillment. That is the goal of the Vedas. So that's what Krishna is saying. The Vedas have a purpose that requires transcending the Vedas. The Bhagavad Gita accepts the Vedic authority, right? Krishna speaks about how you should do your prescribed duty and go to heavenly planets. That is in the Vedas. So Bhagavad Gita accepts the Vedic authority, but then it exceeds and extends the Vedic authority, where Krishna says in this verse, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna, you become transcendental to these modes, you go beyond these modes. This is again discussion in the purport, which you can read later. Vedanta is the best word in Vedic wisdom. Author and the knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna, and the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy names of the Lord. So the fourth reason, society will become degraded when all men are killed. Krishna is giving in this verse, these two verses that we just did. Nistray Gunyo Bhavarjuna, go beyond the modes. So Krishna's response comes in 2.45 and 46. Because Arjuna was talking about how the society will become degraded, right, without following what is there in the Vedas. But Krishna is saying, go beyond the Vedas. He'll also give this, his response in 3rd chapter in the 24th verse. We'll come to that and we'll talk about it there. And I was reading the Bhagavatam. The section that I'm at right now, 9th canto, is the story of Urvashi and Pururava. How he gets distracted from the path because he was so much attached to enjoying the sensual pleasure. And most of us might know the story, and our homework can be, you can go and read or understand the story. It's a beautiful, I can also, my Guru Maharaj, I was just listening. In fact, today morning, he was talking about this story itself. So such a coincidence, where I was reading also this section, Maharaj's lecture, that wonderful lecture, how we can get distracted by all these bhoga and ashwarya around us. Yes, Deepaji.
Mataji, you said that the answer to the reason society will become degraded has been answered at 2.45 and 2.46, where he talks. Can you go back to the slide, Mataji? 2 slides before this.
This one?
Basically, Krishna says that you have to go beyond the Vedas.
Mm-hmm.
But by Arjuna fighting, and like basically the lineage will be the dharmic lineage will be stopped. Basically, he's arguing that if he gets killed, then the dharmic lineage will be stopped, and the society in the future will not be dharmic, and it will get degraded. So I don't quite understand how the philosophical explanation at 2.45 and 2.46 answers the question that the society will, will still be
not
preserved.
degraded by him fighting. Yes, I got your question. So, see, when we are talking about Krishna's response, he's not completely answered. He's addressing his reason not to fight. He's starting to address it. So the whole Bhagavad Gita, it's not that now the 5 reasons have been fulfilled and now we can stop in the 2nd chapter or the 3rd chapter, where he continues and gives the another response. But there are so many more chapters. So it's an extension. So here he's starting to, or he's addressing the reason why he doesn't want to fight. So if we don't, Arjun's reason was, if I fight, all men are killed, the society is degraded, nobody will follow the Vedic rituals, right? And then there'll be degradation, and even the ancestors will fall down, correct? Now, if we go by what Krishna is asking us to do, to go beyond the Vedas. Go beyond the Vedas, where transcend the Vedas, meaning, okay, in the 15th chapter, Krishna will say, 15.15, he will say how he is the creator of the Vedas, and the purpose of the Vedas is to know him. Vedesha sarver aham eva vedyo, he says, 15.15. So what is the purpose of the Vedas? Why do you want to follow the Vedas? The highest purpose is to become attached to Krishna, to know me. So if you fight, Krishna is saying you do your duty of fighting because it is the right thing to do, because I am saying so. So don't do your duty of fighting because according to Vedas, it's, or not do your duty of fighting because it's going to degrade, there'll be degradation of the society. But you fight because it will not degrade. This is what Krishna will come to, because it will be sinful if you don't do your duty of fighting. You'll be neglecting your duty as a Kshatriya. Also, if you are established, you fight, and you are established, then dharma will prevail. Because see, right now, Duryodhan is the one who's taking care of the society. As it is, there's going to be degradation with his rule. But if they fight, Pandavas fight and rule the kingdom, there is going to be dharma that will be established. It is not that everybody will forget what is right or what is wrong. They are going to establish by their example. Again, in 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, again, Krishna will talk about you do your duties because people will follow your example. So people in the society follow what great people do. All that is coming. So here, it's not that it's complete answer, but he's addressing his point that you're talking from the perspective of Vedas, that if you fight, society will become degraded. Actually, you have to go beyond the Vedas and do your duty because I am telling you to do it. I'll be pleased, right? The purpose of Vedas is to know Krishna. So that's where Krishna is leading up to. I hope I answered your question, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so in the next class, Krishna, from the 47th verse, Krishna will talk about how to practice Nishkama Karma Yoga. Oh, we still have 5 to 7 minutes. I know today was a long class. We couldn't do a nice activity together, but we can still think about and discuss or just relate those things that in our bhakti do distract us. Even now, while we're practicing, there might be so many distractions. What is, you can bring out your activity notebook and you can use your colored pen or whatever you want to. I was thinking red because those are distractions we have to stay away from. So think of those distractions and you can make a list, 1 or 2 or if more. What is it that distracts us from the path of bhakti? Even after knowing that this is we should be urgently following, this is what will give us eternal results. Then at my level right now, how do I get distracted? You can write those down, and whoever wants to share, then you raise your hand and you can share.